If you work in information systems, IT, compliance, or cybersecurity, you need to know ISACA. Founded in 1969 with more than 200 chapters in over 180 countries, ISACA provides worldwide certification, education, knowledge, and insight. ISACA, or the Information Systems Audit and Control Association, provides industry-leading certifications to over 500,000 tech professionals. If you or your workforce isn't certified by ISACA, you need to call us now. 800-219-9344. That's 800-219-9344. Ask about our half-year Smart Savings event going on now. You can save half price on our membership fee. Yeah, half price off. ISACA's certifications and membership will give you the knowledge, credibility, and network to succeed. It's time to join the top professionals in your industry right now. Call ISACA today at 800-219-9344. Our half-year Smart Savings event can save you half price on your membership right now. 800-219-9344. 800-219-9344.
WODT WNOE FM HD2 New Orleans. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app. Search Sports 1280. Fox Sports trending now.
Off and rocking in the NFL, Adam Schefter is reporting that the Seattle Seahawks are...
Check. Can you hear me?
First-round pick, Marcus Smith. Baltimore Ravens have signed former Arena League quarterback David Olson. They were kicking the tires on Colin Kaepernick, but they passed, at least for the time being. Raiders have released
hello.
Howard and in Pittsburgh. Steelers right tackle Marcus Gilbert is being sued by a man that claims Gilbert body slammed him. Man is...
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
The input was not up.
God, Jesus, man. Damn rookies.
Yeah, 7 in a row. And Angels 2-1. Cleveland is now 2 games in front of the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah. Well, look, give me some... You don't have to give me the markers. Hold on.
All loans subject to lender approval.
You don't have to give me the markers, but give me some keywords to look for. Like I got the first one, the day one assessment or something.
Let me send you the transcript.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it'll be like it'll help.
All right, well we'll start. Let's start with Coach O for the first hour.
I'm not even going to say like. Well, I did tease that we're going to hear from Drew Brees, but I mean, we could be later in the show.
Yeah, so if you want to open up, we got the Coach O presser. That's 7 minutes 28 seconds, and then the Coach O one-on-one is 9:44.
Cool. We're going to do Coach O presser in the first hour, and then the exclusive in the second hour. And we're not doing it in the first segment, so I'll give you that.
Okay.
There's no obligation, and you could receive your loan decision in minutes and funding in as fast as one business day. All businesses have already received the loans they needed, and now it's your turn.
Speak with our U.S.-based loan specialists and find out how much you qualify for now at OnDeckLending.com. That's OnDeckLending.com.
Gentlemen, JCPenney is celebrating...
Are you saying I can't cuss?
Friday and Saturday. Save with amazing spotlight deals.
But I like cussing.
Woohoo! Stafford, J. Farrar, Foundry, and more, including big and tall.
I'll never be a YouTube sensation unless I start, dancing like Jeff.
Plus, this is the only time of the year you can stack on your coupon and save an extra $10 on top of Black Friday prices. Hurry, and Saturday.
that was gold.
Plan on and select items in store and at jcp.com. Some exclusions apply. Details.
Hi,
I'm dancing. I'm all elbows and teeth, man.
Ask me, can I still take advantage of today's low rates? Is it still a good time to refinance? The answer is yes. Now's a great time to call Quicken Loans at 800-QUICKEN. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%, APR 4.19%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
They say time is money.
All right, 30 seconds.
Okay.
This wasn't a very long break.
Lowe's stocks everything a pro needs at great prices every day. And right now at Lowe's, pro customers can save even more. Through August 2nd, pros get up to 20% off select Frigidaire appliances. And now through July 30th, pros get up to 20% off select Sylvania light bulbs. Hurry in and save on everything a pro needs at Lowe's. Visit the Pro Desk or LowesForPros.com for details.
All right, here we go.
For U.S. only.
Dunc and Holder live at you on a Friday, July 28th. The Saints are currently practicing on Airline Drive, and we're coming to you after literally watching about 15 minutes of stretching. So we have nothing to report, and we can't report anything anyway. Again, today's practices at the Saints facility, close to the public, and tomorrow is the first day open practices for the fans, which means for us, live reporting from practices as it goes along. Jeff and I will be a part of our NOLA.com Times-Picayune team, but today we're back at you on the headsets. And Jeff, you have become an internet sensation. You and Sean Spicer will be on the next Dancing with the Stars. I'm gonna book it. Book it.
I would say that it's going to drive our traffic up dramatically. This 610 Stompers-like effort. What's their line? Ordinary men, extraordinary moves. I think it applies.
It's extraordinary that you could still move like that, and I tried to recreate your worm move for the YouTube Live. You're more fluid with the worm, the arm wiggle, the arm worm. I don't know.
Right. I need more hip room here, too. We're kind of confined. There's not a lot of room to really throw down here. But, we're limited.
You tried to throw your hips in my face yesterday, and I was almost like, oh, my gosh, get me the hell out of here.
Well, if Dave ever pipes in some more Freakazoid, which is Midnight Star from my hometown back in my day, no parking on the dance floor, that kind of stuff, I can't really be responsible for any moves that I'm going to be making.
Any of your actions or
right.
Anything that you just said, or just, people are just going to come in droves here on the show, and we're actually driving people away from the show right now. Got a great show coming up for you. We don't have any, say, particularly live guests on the show, as in live interviews, but something that we teased yesterday. We wanted to keep it a little on the down low, and we got it done last night. LSU head football coach Ed Orgeron, Jeff and I had a chance to catch up with him. We have an exclusive interview with him. I'm going to tell you what, it's been a long time since I've actually even spoken to Coach O, and the last time I remember even talking to him was when he was a New Orleans Saints defensive line coach. That goes back to, 2007, 2008?
Yes.
And he was only here. He wasn't even here for an entire calendar year. But we had some candid conversation with him, and we're going to bring you that part of Ed Orgeron's kind of media stop here in New Orleans from last night. We're going to bring you our exclusive interview with him in the 11 o'clock hour, and then earlier we're going to kind of give you the media scrum where he was asked some nuts and bolts questions, and I'm sure it'll be interesting for everyone to hear. Probably, we'll say the next segment. We'll open that up. But, yeah, it's the first time I've been in a room, like I said, with Coach O. I'm talking 10 years. And to me, my impressions from him, he's a far different guy than he was 10 years ago. There's no question.
Seems very comfortable in his own skin now as the head coach at LSU. You can tell he learned a lot from his failed stint at Ole Miss, and he admits it. He admitted it last night that he wasn't very good as a head coach in his first go-round, and he took the time away from the head coaching seat to learn as much as he could from guys like Pete Carroll. He mentioned Sean Payton when he was here, learned a lot from Sean Payton. Matter of fact, says he structures all of the practices at LSU after the Saints practice regimen. And I think he's matured into a CEO, which is what you have to be at a flagship school like LSU. You're doing less coaching than you are administrating and organizing and mentoring. And I think he's kind of he admitted he wouldn't have been that way 5 years ago, but he is that way now. And I think a line he said last night was, you can't coach the quarterback like you coach Warren Sapp. And I think that's an accurate way of looking at it. Back then he was just a defensive line coach with a head coach title.
Basically screaming at everyone he could, and it didn't work. And he even said that it burnt out his staff at Ole Miss because it was high energy, and you need to slow it down a little bit. And like you said, be more of a CEO. But yeah, and some of the things, and you mentioned just the people he has around him. He was rattling off his assistant coaching staff, and to me, I even forgot that Greg McMahon is up there. Of course, I'm so Saints-centric, but I forgot that he's up there doing special teams. Pete Jenkins, he must have mentioned Pete 30 times. It's like his mentor, and Pete's been a long time veteran assistant coach, and probably everyone in the NFL and college football knows Pete Jenkins, and of course Dave Aranda. A lot of talk about Matt Canada, and it's him learning and leaning on these very good minds, football minds, rather than him trying to dominate everything. And that to me is the primary takeaway from all of the speaking he did. And the event was at Walk-Ons on Poydras, and I want to thank Gordy Rush and Derek Panansi for getting us involved in that. But yeah, to me, different guy than what I even expected, because you see like the caricature guy, like he's this comic book guy, and people go on ESPN and he does the car wash, and everyone's talking to him about taking his shirt off and running down Nicholson Drive, and he's like this, yo. No, he's more of a CEO than I even give him credit for.
Coach O is very easy to underestimate because of the gruff demeanor, his gravelly voice. He's from down to Bayou, as they say. It's easy to underestimate him, but he's much sharper than people think, and I think he's ready for this job. Now, is he ready to beat Alabama and topple that empire? I don't know. I don't think anybody is yet. But he knows what's at stake, and he knows they've got to get it done on the recruiting trail. But he's not shying away from Alabama either. I like the way he's kind of embracing the challenge. And, he's put together a great staff, and I think that's one of the most important things you can do as a head coach. And he's got great coordinators. You mentioned Greg McMahon. I'm interested to see how that plays out, because Greg McMahon is the special teams analyst. He can't actually coach the players, can't be in a room coaching them. He has to coach the coaches who coach the special teams, and the coach of the special teams is going to be Ed Orgeron.
All right, let me ask you a question, because I don't know the answer. Do we know why that is? Because is he still getting paid from the Saints?
I think it has to do with they'd already filled the number of staff positions, so they couldn't add another coach. So they were full, and there's a limitation on the coaching staff. And you know who else is helping out? Former Saints special teams coach Bobby April is actually a consultant for their special teams. He's going to do all the advanced scouting for the LSU special teams. So they've got Greg McMahon, Bobby April, two of the probably most revered special teams coaches of the last 20 years in the NFL. Certainly Bobby April. I know locally here people would say Greg McMahon isn't, but he's well regarded in the NFL for his special teams acumen. So that, again, he's hiring people with NFL skins on the wall on this coaching staff.
And you look at the way he's gotten this job, and he came in obviously crazy circumstances. And did he do well last year? Sure. Was he something that lit the world on fire? Probably not. And Jeff, I'm kind of going to put you on the spot here, because you wrote a column last year during the coaching search process, and you were Mr. Tom Herman. You were advocating for him. And I'm sure if you put some truth serum in Joe Oliva's coffee, Tom Herman, that was their number one choice, and Ed Orgeron was not.
I would say that's definitely true. I think Ed Orgeron was a backup plan to some degree, but I think Joe Oliva and the powers that be at LSU, like myself, warmed to Ed Orgeron as it went along. I think they became more comfortable with him as the head coach, and probably, like a lot of people, underestimated him at first, and now they see that it's a really good fit. And I think as long as he's got this staff together, they're going to be very competitive. Now, what happens if in a year or two Dave Aranda leaves for a head coaching job, Matt Canada gets a job, and he's got to replace those guys? That's going to be critical for him to be able to continue that level of hiring, because right now this staff is excellent.
504-260-1280 is the number to get involved on Dunc and Holder. And like I said, we are not going to have live guests, even though, of course, the people we're talking to are live humans. But we're going to have some open segments, and we're going to talk LSU a lot today. We're going to talk Saints, obviously, because they're on the practice field for day 2 of training camp. And Jeff, LSU opens up their training camp, for lack of a better term. They open it up on Monday. And to me, you've got plenty of questions. And one of the questions I asked Coach O was about how do you fill the void when you lose all these defensive prospects. And he retold a story last night with he was flying back, and he was at the draft, and his wife's talking to him, and he's looking out the window of a plane, and everyone's happy, but his wife says, Ed, what's the matter? He's like, well, I got to replace these guys. And I think that's going to be a big thing, replacing Tre'Davious White, Jamal Adams, Duke Riley. I feel like I'm missing someone else too. But yeah, all of these holes where you've got all these stud defensive players. And a big question mark that is front and center with everyone is Arden Key going to be ready? And that's, to me, it's the ongoing story that's not going to stop until maybe a definitive answer comes out.
We didn't really get a concrete answer last night.
Right.
Coach O kind of put that off, said he will be back at some point, but he couldn't guarantee he'd be available for week 1 against BYU. So, yeah, a lot of uncertainty with that, and he's clearly a difference maker. And I think Dave Aranda even said they have 2 defenses, one with Arden Key in the lineup and one without him. That's how big of a factor he is on defense. But, look, they've got a lot of great athletes. You could hear the enthusiasm in Coach O's voice when he talked about a lot of these young players that are going to be thrust into the lineup this year. He mentioned as many as 7 freshmen, and most of them on the defensive side of the ball. He mentioned Grant Delpit, the safety that he thinks has a world of potential, could be another Jamal Adams-like impact player, and singled him out. And I think he's excited about the young linebackers they have. So this is going to be a fun team to watch. I think the excitement, enthusiasm built around this new offense and Matt Canada, the mystery and intrigue about what it's going to look like, and then all these young faces that are going to be on the defensive side of the ball. And I think a lot of them are going to be playing early.
And you can go to NOLA.com right now and check out Chris Dabe's story right on time, leading into preseason camp, the top 4 LSU position battles heading into there. And we're going to have Chris on Monday. He'll make his Dunc Holder debut. He's long-awaited debut. He says he's been on vacation and he's been listening, and he's so angry at us that we have not interrupted his vacation that he has to come on the show, kind of like what Josh Katzenstein did. He bullied his way onto the show. Chris is doing the same thing, and look, Chris is not – his demeanor is not Josh's, but, I mean, he literally came with a hammer and said, put me on the show or else.
Chris Dabe's got a little more tact than Josh Katzenstein.
Slightly.
Josh never met tact.
No.
Doesn't know. He's never been introduced.
He might have met Tack McKinley, but that's the only one he's at. Or Tack Minor. Remember Tack Minor, the old the point guard from LSU?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that, 80s, 90s, 90s?
I think it was in the 2000s.
2000s?
Yeah.
That's, man. Time's
too many dance moves for you. It's boggled your brain.
Too many Snake and Jake nights in between there.
I felt like I had my own Snake and Jake night last night. As we go to break right here on Dunc Holder, we're going to play what Coach Ed Orgeron had to say last night in a group setting with the media. Plenty of nuts and bolts questions. You'll hear some familiar voices within the media corps. We'll let them hold court. And then in hour number 2, we will have our exclusive with Ed Orgeron. More broad-based questions, just him personality-wise, him trying to prove that he deserves the job. And so we'll have that in hour number 2. And again, we'll take your phone calls, 504-260-1280. Don't forget, Saints training camp going on right now, day 2. And the updates will come in the second hour when practice is over. Again, we're not out there, obviously, but as updates come in from our NOLA.com and Times-Picayune colleagues, we will bring them to you as they happen here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app for Dunc Holder.
Keep your contributions by your side. Strongest of men could be a winner, boy, and move quite well.
Join Corey Johnson on The Neutral Ground, 4 till 6.
I like when you come to The Neutral Ground.
right, so hey, what do y'all want in particular out of this Drew Brees stuff? Because like the audio's not matching up with the damn transcript, so I can't make heads or tails out of half this crap.
Oh God. Okay.
Summer means family vacation, sunscreen.
You know what?
No, I was looking at the Brees.
Summers, prepare your family's future with an estate plan from LegalZoom. National Make-A-Will Month is right around the corner, and LegalZoom is pulling a bunch of sources together all in one place to make it a little easier to ensure your family and your assets are protected. And since LegalZoom isn't a law firm, you never have to worry about expensive hourly fees. Check out...
I'm just thinking, hey guys, it's Jeremy. Maybe like for just in the future, just if we can try to get this stuff a little sooner.
Oh, I know.
Just get,
it was total slack.
I mean, ultimately, like once the transcript's out, like we could get it from anywhere. You know, we could pull it from the Saints stream of the thing if we wanted to. I'm sure. The rule has always been for us, like if there's more than one microphone, it's not exclusive. So take whatever you want from it. So if you see something you want, like the day before, we can get it. We can start moving on a little quicker.
Visit Uber.com/drive now. That's UBE.
Well, hey, it's Friday. I don't blame you. No, and I'm just trying to think for future reference, best way to handle this. That's all.
Oh yeah, that's a great thought. There's a reason it was Callaway's most successful fairway wood of all time. So what happens when you take an iconic club?
Yeah. So, but you're definitely thinking that we can't. Does L stream it as carry the press conferences live as the Saints station? You think?
No, they don't. And by the way, we're
also
forgiving and easy to launch.
Hi, how you doing?
Technology, Steelhead XR has been super.
This is how we make the sausage, YouTubers.
Turf or tee. Well, you're not live. Doesn't matter where you are on the course. Steelhead XR, specifically designed to not only play from any lie, but to play it long from any lie. Not that you guys would be hitting it out of trouble that often, I'm sure, right? You are probably 300 yards right down.
It's all good.
Yeah. To learn more about all the technology behind the new Steelhead XR, go to CallawayGolf.com. That's CallawayGolf.com. Callaway, the #1. All
right, we're coming back.
Golf.
This is Dunc Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Welcome back, Dunc Holder on a Friday here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. And for our YouTube Live listeners, you get like a behind-the-scenes look at what we're doing at times, and hopefully we don't curse. But it's the internet. Can't you curse on the internet, Jeff?
I don't think.
Heck yeah.
See, Dave thinks we can. Why can't we?
Well, maybe we should forge into that new frontier.
As opposed to your dance moves and my mediocre dance moves, might as well just curse, go crazy.
Those
were very suggestive dance moves.
What other kind are there but suggestive dance moves?
I don't know. What is like the sprinkler a suggestive dance move, or like the running man? No, just pull those.
Little salt, little pepper.
Oh my goodness,
that's the best move.
Anyway, on that note, the listenership it's gone.
Looking in here at us.
It's gone. Yeah, exactly. So let's go to hear what Coach Ed Orgeron had to say to the media scrum last night. Like I said, it's a bunch of questions, and I'll be honest with you, cameras are around. Coach O, he's going to be gregarious, but some of the answers are a little more guarded.
More canned.
Right, and he was a little more open with us. I think it's just our smooth bravado.
Our charm. We just charmed it out of him.
I'm a total charmer.
Yeah, no, he was good last night. When we got him, he was very good. As usually is, he likes the media. You know, he went up and did the ESPN car wash. He had 26 appearances in one day. And Derek Panamsky was saying he loved every minute of it. He never wore him down. He embraced it. And so he's, like I said, he's more comfortable, I think, in this go-round as a head coach. He really seems to be enjoying what he's doing and embracing the challenge.
That's amazing, because I did a car wash interview essentially up at ESPN for a job interview a bunch of years ago, and by the middle of the day, I was looking through people who were asking me questions. I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No wonder I don't have the job.
No wonder you didn't.
No wonder I don't have the job.
No, so, they're famous for that, though. Just running you in and out of interviews, and everything's on an itinerary. It's amazing.
Absolutely. So let's hear what Coach Ed Orgeron had to say last night at the I don't even know what it was called. Might as well give Eagle 98.1 some props. I mean, they put on the event. They invited us there, and so might as well maybe it was their Tiger Tour stop at Walk-Ons and Pointers. So here's Coach Ed Orgeron with the media.
So do you think there's any chance he could be ready for the BYU game?
Don't know that there is a chance, but we don't know that yet.
All right, guys, 7 minutes.
That was going well?
Going well.
So what do you anticipate him doing at the beginning, Coach? Not very much.
Everything he can do, running, a little bit of lifting he can do, walkthroughs, obviously no contact, and I'm listening to the doctors. As soon as he's able to get in the uniform and practice, he's going to do that. But I don't see that happening in the next couple of weeks for sure.
Coach, how excited are you for Sunday and Monday? Enough of this talking. You're going to finally get these kids on the field.
Yeah, get out, cleats in the grass, and let's go, man. All that talking stops. You know, I'm excited Sunday night for our team to get together, all of us together. And this is our team for 2017. I'm excited for camp. We're building the foundation for the season. You know, the physical, mental toughness, the conditioning, the technique, the alignment, the assignments, coaches getting together, we're gelling together, getting our special teams together, going through some adversity together. I'm looking forward to camp.
Getting a whole season, which you had to face last year, was not totally desirable. What are the advantages for starting from the beginning?
Yeah, well, you have your whole staff for a year now. They know what to expect. I've had the whole team for spring, summer, conditioning. This is our football team, and they're going to play like our football team. Let me say something. You know, those guys did very well when we took over last year, and it's our job to start faster this year, have a better beginning of the first part of the season, get better throughout the season, and finish strong.
In a similar way, Coach, like you coming in, Danny was never really 100% last year. He seems to be getting better. Is he almost there, and where is he?
Yeah, you know, I asked him the other day, he says, Coach, I'm about 90%. Obviously, I said it time and time again, we can't see him throw the football, but the guy says he's throwing it well. He doesn't have a lot of pain shooting down his leg. He has full rotation. He can use his hips. That's what he's telling me. So we're going to see it in camp. I expect him to have a great camp. He's a tremendous competitor.
How much better a quarterback do you think he can be when he doesn't necessarily have either the pain or the potential pain, or maybe in the back of his mind?
Yeah, I think that's going to help him. But I think underneath Coach Canada running the offense, Danny's experience playing in SEC, going through some tough games, going through some good games, we're going to rely on his experience this year if he is the starter.
Coach, knowing that you don't have a ton of experience behind him,
will
you be very diligent about how much you expose him to contact with you as far as running in games or anything like that?
Yeah, well, you know, obviously we're not going to hit him at all during camp. And in games, you know, Danny's not a running quarterback, and hopefully he doesn't have to run many times. If he runs it because protection broke down, we don't want that.
Would you make the other quarterbacks live at all in like scrimmages and stuff?
Well, we'll see. We'll see what we're doing. You know, we'll have live scrimmages on Saturday. We'll see what type of plays we run. You know, if we run a dual threat quarterback, he has to be live. A pocket drop back passer doesn't have to be live.
Contact overall, Ed, how do you handle that in camp?
You know, Saturday is going to be spring. Saturday is going to be preseason game for us, so they're going to be live contact for sure. We're going to have some contact during the week, but not much.
You structure those Saturdays like a regular game?
Like a regular game. I put them in a situation. It's a preseason game. I want to put them in game-type atmosphere. I want to see how they perform. We grade them, coaches off the field. And then, you know, even a coach, you're going to make mistakes in the first preseason game. And hopefully you don't make those mistakes in the second one. The team's going to be the same way. By the time after 4 preseason games, we should be ready to play a full game.
This is a very NFL-like approach.
Yes, very NFL-like approach. You know, you can't have 2 days. Meet in the morning, walk through, go have lunch, come back and practice, watch the film. Same thing we did at the Saints.
So I guess getting off to a fast start is one of the reasons why you decided to do this?
You know, first of all, I trust our team. We have a physically tough team. They're in good shape. I'm in more now to the X's and O's, the technique, the gelling as a football team. You know, the 2 days used to be you have to get your team in shape, you have to get them tough. I think that we're going to start off very fast.
Are you concerned about a major injury in a situation like that?
Sure. You know, you're always concerned with injury, but you know what? You have to go full speed. You have to give them game-like situations, but you have to pick and choose your times.
Coach, Tiger Tour, all these tour stops you have meeting the fans. What are the most questions you get about? Is it about Alabama? Is it is that it? What do the fans want to talk about?
Hey man, I get Alabama stopping at the gas station or at the red light. You know, I might be jogging down the road. There might be a construction guy call me and say, "Coach, we got to beat Bama." I know, we get that, but no. You know, the guys have been mostly positive. Hey, we're behind you, Coach. Go Tigers. We're glad to have a Louisiana boy there. That's what I get most of the time.
Coach, some success offensively, especially early in the season.
Yeah.
How much do you think that would help you in recruiting?
I think it would help a lot to prove that we are going to be 50-50, to prove that we are going to throw the football, to prove that we're going to play with 3 receivers every down, sometimes 4. I think that's going to help us recruit the quarterbacks we want, especially the wide receivers that we're going after. They heard all the stories. Now we're running a new offense. They need to see it. I think that's going to help us.
Do you think that other schools have used that against you in recruiting?
Oh, for sure. No question.
And there's only one way to change that, though, right?
And it is. It's in our plan. But look, our first game that we took over, went to the spread offense. We broke the school record. So we're going to continue to have a spread offense. We're going to continue to be 50-50. We're going to continue to put our playmakers in space and give them the ball.
So how much in the spring game of Matt Canada's offense did we see?
About a minute and a half, okay?
20%.
Got it.
How much has he got in now? Does he have?
Well, we still got camp. We had some installations during the summer. We had an hour with the kids.
All right, I got the clip of Drew Brees' day 1 assessment.
Does a good job of doing what the players
Dave,
do.
I heart you.
A lot of plays that
I know.
Pittsburgh, we're not going to run here. There's some plays that he didn't run at Pittsburgh. We're going to run
And we
here.
work for iHeartRadio and now a dork. All right,
having a new offense and having maybe a young defense. Is it good to start off with at home?
And I'm just wrapping up the sense of urgency question.
Awesome.
Well, I think you're going to see players develop, especially on defense. You're going to see young players get game experience and get better each week and going into the teeth of our season. And then on offense, you got a young offense, a new offense, you have to protect the football. You have to eliminate mistakes. Be sharp out there, put 11 people on the field and fight like tigers, and that's what I want them to do.
Coach, what do you think, like, kind of big picture wise, it takes to get back to the elite in this league?
Yeah, really continue to play great defense like Dave started last year. Average 27, 30 points a game on offense. That's what you need nowadays. Play great special teams.
All right, 10 seconds.
Alabama, you have to beat them in recruiting. You have to beat them on the field. And you have to continue to play great on the field.
All right, you're up.
Thanks, Coach.
And at the beginning of the interview, when we were asking about it was about Arden Key. So it was about his availability, of course. You look at Arden Key, one of the premier pass rushers in the country, and for what I do, particularly covering the NFL and the Saints, you could go to many mock drafts. You can go to many sites that do the draft scouting, and Arden Key is one of the top players potentially to come out in this year's draft. So lots of intrigue around him.
Yeah, there's just so much uncertainty with not only when he's going to come back, but how effective he'll be when he does come back. But it sounds like Coach O has a pretty good bead on the fact that he doesn't want to rush him out there. He wants him to be ready to go when he gets on the field. But there's clearly going to be some limitations, and I'm sure some rustiness to his game once he does come back. But, look, the BYU game's a little bit of a trap game, I think. That's a team that played a lot of close games last year. They play a lot of big-name opponents down to the wire. They will not be intimidated by LSU at all, but LSU seems to fare well in these kind of neutral site field games to open the season. They always have a huge crowd in Houston. There's a huge alumni base over there. So if they can get past that first game, the schedule lightens a little bit, gives Key time to come back.
And earlier this week, as we go to break right here on Dunc and Holder, 504-260-1280, you can get involved and get your thoughts on Coach O. Again, we're going to have our exclusive interview with him in the second hour. But, Jeff, you look at Coach O and you look at the way he kind of embraces the challenge. And we had our friend Pete Thamel on from Yahoo Sports, National College Football writer, on earlier in the week, and he was very blunt, saying it's almost like he's set up to fail because the expectation that has now become at LSU, you've got to be number one and you got to beat Alabama. And look, I could tell you when I went there in the late 90s and early 2000s when Nick Saban was there, that was certainly not the expectation. It's totally changed, and there's a lot riding on this Orgeron hire.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of when the Saints were really good in the Jim Mora era, and they were in the same NFC West division as the 49ers, the greatest dynasty in the NFL, and they couldn't get past them in the division, and the same thing's going on with LSU and this 500-pound gorilla that is Alabama, the greatest modern dynasty in college football.
Yep, we'll come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. We're Dunc Holder.
Your forecast on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
This report is brought to you by the Foundation for a Better Life.
From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz. TGIF on your Friday today. Temperatures up to 97 degrees. Not expecting much rain, so take it easy out there. Going to be a hot one tonight. Fair skies with lows in the upper 70s, but then after midnight, clouds increase. After midnight, some scattered showers move in. And Saturday, the wet weather day of the weekend. Cool front moves in. 70% coverage for tomorrow. High temperature in the upper 80s. The good news, we clear out, turn less humid on Sunday as the front moves south into the Gulf. From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz with your Weather Authority forecast.
She didn't just visit the sick and poor. She moved in with them because they needed help. Mother Teresa couldn't do it all, but she gave it all. Compassion. Pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at Values.com. Hurry in. For a limited time, get big savings on automotive batteries while they're hot. Visit AutoZone today for hot deals on the parts and supplies you need. While heat causes battery fluid to evaporate, which could damage your battery, Duralast batteries are designed to beat the heat, tested to start your car at up to 167 degrees Fahrenheit. And right now, you'll get a $20 AutoZone gift card by mail-in rebate when you buy select automotive batteries. Let's get you what you need. Restrictions and details apply. Limit 2.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Think you can't manage the down payment it takes to purchase a new home? Think again. You could move into a $150,000 home with as little as $1,500 down with our 1% down payment option. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%, APR 4.19%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Worry less with Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Hey, thought you were going to be stuck at the repair shop with your car for a few hours. I did too, but Liberty Mutual saved me from that nightmare. Liberty did what? Yep, with Liberty, I can get a repair estimate right on my phone. I just took a few photos of the dent and hit send. Now I just have to worry about getting the kids to soccer.
All right, 10 seconds.
Kids? Soccer? I gotta go. Oh, bye.
5 seconds.
To get a quote, you can leave worry behind when Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Availability varies by state. Other restrictions apply. Coverage is underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company.
Our insiders are talking your teams. Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Dunc Holder back at you. Just heard from LSU head football coach Ed Orgeron, and we will do our exclusive interview. Jeff and I had a chance to catch up with him last night at the Tiger Tour that was in town over at Walk-Ons on Poitras. We will do that at the top of the 11 o'clock hour, and because Jeff is becoming so intrepid as a radio mogul, we had no real plan going into the show other than to play Ed Orgeron and for me to make Dave's life miserable and to cut up some Drew Brees sound. Jeff is like, why don't we do that at the 11 o'clock hour? Because Saints training camp practice will be ending, and our colleagues who are out at practice will be able to give updates, and we can format the show that way. Look at you, Jeff. Look at you.
Light bulb moment. No, look, let's make the second hour mostly Saints-centric. We'll be able to talk about some things we saw on the practice field earlier today. I think we can break this news. Marshawn Lattimore has changed his number to 23. So
you're never going to be allowed to practice
That's
again.
the breaking news of the morning.
You're never going to be allowed to
practice
again.
That's how slow things were when we were out there.
It is not Pierre Thomas playing cornerback?
They didn't retire Pierre's number, no.
No respect for Pierre Thomas, none.
There's actually kind of a slow practice. Tomorrow I think things will pick up once they put the pads on and all the fans are out there. It'll be a good one to take in.
So, Jeff, let's switch it back to LSU because we're going to might as well be LSU-centric. We've got all this great stuff from Coach O. And I'm just taking a look at the schedule here, and I'm going to be very honest with you. Do I cover LSU every day? No. Am I kind of playing catch up on the fly a little bit because we're doing the show and I need to pay more attention? Yes, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be Frank. And my middle name's Frank, so there you go. I could be L. Frank Holder. I'm leaving now. But you look at BYU, you say that first game, and LSU's play a lot of these first game, big-time game. Let's see. They played North Carolina way back when. Jeff, what else am I missing?
Oregon. They beat Oregon.
Obviously, Oregon.
TCU,
I should know that.
I think, wasn't it? Or
yeah. And
Wisconsin?
Yeah, TCU?
Wasn't it Wisconsin?
Wisconsin. Well, they lost the Wisconsin game.
No, but they beat Wisconsin down in Houston. It was Leonard.
Oh, they
Fournette's
lost the
first game.
Lambeau Field game. That's
Right.
When it was almost like the demise of Brandon Harris. But
and Les Miles to some degree.
Well, yeah, because it's almost like, to a smaller degree, Les Miles pinned his hopes on Brandon Harris, kind of like Jim Haslett pinned his hopes on Aaron Brooks. I mean, similar to me.
Hitched his wagon to the wrong guy.
Right.
But there'll be. I will be interested to see how Brandon Harris does at North Carolina. With Larry Fedora, a much more diverse offense, kind of the quarterback whisperer. I mean, he made Mitch Trubisky into the number 2 pick in the draft. It'll be interesting. I mean, there will be no excuse for Brandon Harris now. He's in a system with a well-regarded head coach that has a very diverse offense. We'll see how he responds.
And I think Fedora was the head coach at Southern Miss, and Austin Davis got him into the NFL, and he's a backup and kind of floated around and even started some games
Correct.
for the Rams at some point. So obviously he knows what he's doing with quarterbacks. But here's my level of research here. So we got an email, and it was odds of who's going to be the starting quarterback or at certain universities, and Brandon Harris is the favorite on the site that provided me with the information. So I wouldn't have thought that, but I guess maybe some others, maybe North Carolina. I guess they're that in need after Trubisky left.
They have some young prospects, but it's the perfect situation for Harris. That's why he went there. I mean, I'm sure he scouted it out and talked to the coaches, and I don't think they promised him a job, but they probably said, look, this is a perfect opportunity for you, an experienced player, to come in and be the bridge between our young prospects and Mitch Trubisky. Looking at the schedule, I wanted to kind of go over that real quick, because if you look at it, and we're talking about Arden Key's availability early on, if they get past BYU, LSU that is, which I think they will, they've got Chattanooga at home, at Mississippi State, which can be a little dicey on the road in
Right.
Starkville. But then you got Syracuse and Troy both at home. I mean, they should be 5-0 going to Florida. The meat of their schedule comes up then when they get the SEC at Florida. Then they have Auburn, who's picked second in the West, then 2 Ole Miss and 2 Alabama. That's just a gauntlet right there.
That is unreal of a schedule, honestly. And, of course, the Florida game at Florida, thanks to the chaos that happened last year, and now what they have 2 straight years of Florida road games. And it makes for 3 road games in 4 weeks. You're going at Florida, at Ole Miss, which who knows what Ole Miss is going to be.
But that will not be easy. It never
No,
is
it still
in
won't
Oxford.
be easy.
Right.
And then at Alabama. I mean, that's a stretch where we talk about it, and maybe to my fault, I'm going to liken things to the Saints because that's what I cover more often, and Jeff covers everything. But that's like the first 4 games for the Saints. At Minnesota, come home to the Patriots, at Carolina, London against Miami. It's a similar stretch to me for LSU, and you look at it, and I know LSU is always going to have national championship expectations from their fans, but boy, if you get through that gauntlet in 3-1, you better feel real good about yourself.
If they're 3-1 through those 4 games, they're going to be playing on New Year's Day,
right?
For
and
sure.
even be in the conversation of SEC title game and playoff.
Yes.
I mean, if you get through that 3-1, you're playing really good football.
Because then the only real stumbling block the rest of the way, I think, is going to be at Tennessee November 18th. They get Arkansas at Tiger Stadium and A&M at Tiger Stadium. Both those programs are obviously competitive, but should be down a little bit this year, I think. So LSU, the real swing games this year are going to be at Tennessee, at Ole Miss, Florida, and Auburn. I don't think anybody expects them to beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa.
Jeff, that's a lot of swing games.
I know. I know. And I think this
That's a lot.
BYU game's tricky. It's not going to be easy in the opener, considering BYU's got, we all know they have a lot of veteran players. They have guys like 26 years old running around. So that's going to be a fun game to cover.
And I was part of the panel last night. There was a high school panel where I can't imagine why Coach O was down at New Orleans last night, because the high school panel, you had your high school head coaches from John Curtis, we know who that is, from Ponchatoula, from Rummel, from McDonough 35, and from Carr, and they're all product producers. And but yeah, he was up there, and I was part of a Saints panel, and one of the questions was it was kind of like a stats game. Who's going to have better stats? And one of the first questions was, who is going to have more yards for the Saints rushing? Was it Mark Ingram and Adrian Peterson? Full disclosure, I said Adrian Peterson, by the way.
Did you?
Controversy.
Wow, that is controversial.
Yes. But I threw it out there being a clown that I am, because you paneled the crowd, and they were like, all right, who do you guys think? Do you believe it's going to be Ingram or Peterson? And I screamed out at Orgeron. I said, Coach O, you didn't raise your hand on either one of them. Who you got? He said, I'll take Darius Geis. And there's no question, even though we're talking about LSU's offense and Matt Canada, and they're going to spread this thing out, they are still going to use Darius Geis. It is apparent that they feel like he is Fournette 2.0. Really, maybe not the size, but they see him as a Heisman candidate, stud back, and they're going to try to put the ball in his hands, because unlike, say, a Saints, your best player is Drew Brees. At LSU, and probably not Danny Etling, it's probably Darius Geis on offense.
No question. And Coach O told a funny story about when he was interviewing Matt Canada for the offensive coordinator position. Canada was showing him some game tape of some of the inventive play calls he has in the goal line situation, one of them being a end around to his left tackle, and everybody was laughing about it. And he said, well, that's great, Coach Canada, but we have a guy named Darius Geis on our team, and if you don't give him the ball down there, they're going to run me and you out of Baton Rouge.
and Coach O was talking about how once the offensive linemen heard that, they're all saying, throw me the ball, give me the ball. And Orgeron is in the background, and he's like, nah, we're not doing that. It's as if Drew Brees was trying to throw that jump pass to Zach Strief, and he flounders and falls over in the end zone. And
Zach
they've never done that again.
He'll never get another chance. He blew his 15 minutes of fame.
Exactly. So why don't we take a quick break right here on Dunk and Holder. 504-260-1280. You can get involved, or you could just sit back and relax and listen to our wonderful analysis here on the show. But top of the 11 o'clock hour, we will air our exclusive interview with LSU head football coach Ed Orgeron. Training camp for the Tigers starts Monday. Hot and heavy, there's no doubt about it. And, again, we're going to have our LSU beat writer based up in Baton Rouge. Chris Dave will join us on the show on Monday to talk LSU from NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune. And then the rest of the show after that will be Saints-centric. We will hear from Drew Brees. Since I gave our man Dave behind the glass headaches, I owe him at least 3 cocktails for cutting up some of this sound. We'll hear from that later on in the show. So, Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're Dunc and Holder.
It's Free Movie Friday. Every Friday, we send you to the movies thanks to our friends at Adam Tickets. Skip the lines. Get the Adam Tickets app. Go to sports1280.com for your chance to win.
Men, you know how women are always suggesting something that's really good on you, and you think it's because they want to change you? It's the exact opposite. Frigo by RevolutionWear.com is underwear reimagined, the ideal solution for all that squirming and adjusting you're experiencing. Frigo by RevolutionWear.com releases you from pinching, pulling, and restricting. And trust me, they love the way it looks on you. Frigo by RevolutionWear.com. The revolution starts below.
Something massive has happened to the iHeartRadio app. We listen to your ideas and suggestions. Everything you had to tell us about how we could improve your listening experience. And the result
Coach O thing? Stand from the match and drop. Oh, okay. All right.
When the new iHeartRadio app today.
Probably not the most delicious option. Traeger grills use real 100.
Okay. All right, so this is what we got for Breeze. We got Breeze day one, the contract issues, a sense of urgency, and then the big year question.
Versatility. Flavor that gas and charcoal grills simply.
I could just email Clyde the cut.
You set the temperature. You can even use an app. You can control it.
Because nobody's going to tell me when not to talk, damn it.
To make, they've got
you ain't the boss of me, man.
On their website to choose from. Go to TraegerGrills.com/recipes to get a little inspiration.
And in the big year, the contract issues was like, okay, I know y'all aren't gonna leave me alone. I'm gonna answer it. And then the big year question was about him having leverage if he has a big year.
TraegerGrills.com/dealers and get one today.
Getting married? Hi, I'm Cheryl Butler.
All right.
I need to register for prizes from over 60 fabulous wedding experts.
I'll believe that when I see it, pal. Playing 5 seconds.
Oliver Bridal Expo in Lakeside Mall.
This is Dunc Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
This song has been rocking in Wrigleyville way more than it was the first half of the baseball season, Jeff Duncan, since Chris Bryant and the Cubs are starting to get it going.
Starting to right the ship a little bit. You knew they were going to do that at some point. They're too
I didn't
talented.
know that.
They're too talented.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I had full faith that they would come around. It's going to be but can they derail the Dodgers juggernaut? They look unstoppable right now.
Full disclosure, Jeff and I are baseball fans. We are dorks and play fantasy baseball. And Jeff, who do you pull for in Major League Baseball?
San Francisco Giants, 3-time World Series champions. Who
I'm
might be
not
the worst team in the league this year.
Yeah, myself, and I am not a bandwagon fan. I'm a Cubs fan. Blame WGN. I literally watched WGN. Ryan Sandberg, 1984, as a preschooler with my great-grandpa, and they would pick me up from St. Rita in Harahan from preschool, and I would get that. My great-grandparents would watch me, and I would go in their like back area, and I'd watch the games, and that's to me, I feel like why I actually still love baseball.
Why are there so many local media reps that are Cubs fans? Between you and Mike Triplett and Jim Derry and Gus.
Well, I feel like we're all around the same age, and that's when WGN was on. So I feel like that's what it was. See, Jeffrey, you're a little bit older than me.
You're all not just front runners.
How can we be front runners when we watched them for years and they stunk?
Sounds like bandwagon.
Oh my gosh!
You guys are on the bandwagon. Anyway, the Cubs are riding the ship. We don't really get to talk much baseball here, but
we probably never will.
We're not going to talk baby cakes. We're the station of the baby cakes.
We are the station of the baby cakes, and if one day we throw out the first pitch, even though I have been very disparaging of their name, am I going to take a step back and say I'm almost okay with it now?
Wow.
I'm almost okay
Flip-flopper.
with it. Look. Almost okay.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't like it. I do not like it. Although I've got to be careful because my car is parked in their parking lot
So
right
is
now,
mine.
and I'm afraid it'll be towed if we say something too negative.
I am almost okay with it. I'm almost okay.
You got a bill in New Orleans.
And it's almost like, okay, it's good for the team that they're selling merchandise. I mean, it's just good for local economy. Why we could at least cheer for that.
I would say this. I was never a huge Zephyrs fan either, so it's not like I thought they got rid of a iconic nickname or logo. I never.
Now, people did treat it like Zephyr. It's this big thing. They had the roller coaster on Pontchartrain
break.
Beach. That I would agree. Give me a break.
Give me a break. Come on.
Exactly.
Nobody's talking about the Zephyr in any capacity around New Orleans.
No.
Because of that roller coaster.
No. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. Let's go to the phone lines. Bill in New Orleans. Bill, thanks for calling Dunc and Holder. What you got, buddy?
Good morning. Love the show. I just want to make a statement about Cubby fans down here.
not having Major League Baseball, and then cable came into existence. WGN was one of the main stations we got plugged in the early days of cable. But as far as baseball, Dodgers are fine, but you got to pull for the Astros. That's the closest thing to us, and they are on fire. So
they are on fire. They are like sick. Carlos Correa is out for like what for a month, and they won't miss him. Basically, it's like I don't care if you pull the fingernail. You take a break and just get ready for the playoffs because that's how great they are this year.
And there's a lot of Astros fans in New Orleans, right?
Oh, for
because
sure.
Of the proximity.
For sure. I get that. I totally understand that.
And, you know, our colleague, Josh Ennis, has the Astros general manager on quite often on his show. He does his show from over in Houston. So if you are into Astros baseball, he has Jeff Lunau on there quite often. Get a lot of Astros insight.
And our social media man, Clyde, is literally headbanging and saying the Astros are the greatest thing ever since, I don't know, the existence of humanity.
Bagwell.
Hey, I think they should bring back Jeff, were you on board with the rainbow Astros uniforms or not? Did you buy into those?
You speaking to me?
Yeah, Bill, I'm sorry.
You're
no wonder.
Jeff.
No wonder. Bill, did you like those? Did you like those rainbow uniforms?
No, not at all. Hate them. They're hard to watch.
Yeah, you go one way or the other on those. You either love them or hate them. They're kind of polarizing.
Yeah.
I personally liked them. I think my alma mater, Louisville, wears a version of those right now.
You speak about your alma mater way more than I speak about mine. People wouldn't even know where I went to college.
Just make
hey, Bill, appreciate the phone call, buddy. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, guys.
Let's go to Vanbo in New Orleans. Vanbo, thanks for calling Dunc Holder. What you got?
Hey, guys, on this whole baby cakes thing, I just turned on a street, and it's in a little subdivision, mostly new houses. The first street I come to is called Cake Bread Street. Now, there's a few houses for sale in this neighborhood. Every house on Cake Bread is still for sale.
Is that a
the name to me is just, it's ridiculous.
Were you a big Zephyrs fan, Vanbo?
No, I wasn't a big Zephyrs fan, but you know, the name to me made sense. Of course, I've lived here my whole life, so I related it to that, not knowing that the name actually came from, I guess the team was up in Denver before, or wherever it was.
Right.
But anyway, I'm just not a fan of the name. But I wanted to say one thing about LSU real quick. I think that at the end of the year, you're looking at about a number 13 ranking. Your thoughts?
I think that's fair, and I think that's a good season. I know, look, LSU fans think it's high in the sky, number one, but I think that's a good season, and then you give Orgeron a second year, and you get a quarterback, and you develop, and you're not getting Etling, who's a transfer because you had no one there. I think that would be a good year. What do you think?
Yeah, look, I think that's probably about a 2-loss season, right? You're probably
maybe
gonna
be
10-2, 9-3.
Maybe if you're like 10-3 by the end of the year and you're in a bowl and you win, I think that would be a good season.
That sounds about right to me.
Yeah,
I think that's about where they're picked right now. Most of these preseason annuals that are out, they're in the teens, the low teens, and that sounds about right.
Yeah.
1 minute.
I think it's fair, and if people think otherwise, all we got to say is that gauntlet of a schedule. It is certainly more challenging. So let's take a break. Top of the hour break coming up. Next hour, we'll hear our exclusive interview with LSU head football coach Ed Orgeron, and then we'll get back to some Saints chatter toward the end of hour number 2 because Saints training camp practice number 2 will be ending, and we'll get some updates of who's doing what, who did great, who had the play of the day, who wore their shorts the best, who knows. We'll have all of that coming up in hour number 2. Of course, myself, Larry Holder, Jeff Duncan, columnist for NOLA.com and at Times-Picayune. About to wrap up our second week of the show. Thanks for all the participation on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're Duncan Holder.
You've heard me talk about my Sleep Number bed, how well I sleep. And I don't mean to rub it in.
Hey, give me Clyde's email. Oh, well, text me Clyde's email.
Friends at Sleep Number have introduced the most amazing bed ever, and that's saying a lot for them. The new Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed.
Well, I mean, we don't want to give it to YouTube, do we, or do we care?
Best possible sleep. 2 beds in one. They also have something called responsive air technology, where the bed senses your every move, automatically adjusts to you, so you stay sleeping.
I mean, it don't matter. I mean,
it's never a bad time to go in there.
I don't know how many stalkers you guys got out there.
The 360 Smart Bed. Also, a 2016 Queen C4 mattress now. $1,299. You save $300. They have 550 of these Sleep Number stores nationwide.
All right, but just send it to me real quick because I'm going to email you the audio for Coach O, the one-on-one.
Or visit sleepnumber.com to find the Sleep Number store nearest you. 1-800-SLEEP-25 and make sure you tell them we sent you.
WODT WNOE FM HD2 New Orleans. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app. Search Sports 1280. Fox Sports trending now.
Start things off in Major League Baseball, where there's news out of Boston that Brian Johnson's going to be recalled to start today against the Kansas City Royals in place of David Price. Price has been nursing a sore elbow over the last couple of days. In fact, it was reported by ESPN's Buster Olney that Price had an MRI today on that said elbow. The results aren't out as of yet. Switching on over to the National Football League, there's tons of drama right now in Pittsburgh. No Le'Veon Bell, he's waiting for a new contract as he yet to sign his franchise tag offer. And now right tackle Marcus Gilbert is being sued by a man that claims Gilbert body slammed him. Man is 54 years of age. His name's Larry Parker, and he claims that he suffered multiple injuries, and he's looking for at least $35,000 in damages. I'm David Gascon.
We are Play Ball! Saturday on the IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. And it's about to get worse. The IRS just hired an army of new tax enforcers. So, if you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. Optima has access to a special IRS tax assistance program called...
All right, 3 minutes.
And their clients that qualify are saving thousands, even tens of thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop that army of new enforcers from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A-rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $500 million of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. Call now for your free consultation.
Call 800-798-2477. Cool. That's 800-798-2477. 800-798-2477.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hurry in. For a limited time, get big savings on automotive batteries while they're hot. Visit AutoZone today for hot deals on the parts and supplies you need. While heat causes battery fluid to evaporate, which could damage your battery, Duralast batteries are designed to beat the heat, tested to start your car at up to 167 degrees Fahrenheit. And right now, you'll get a $20 AutoZone gift card by mailing rebate when you buy select automotive batteries. Let's get you what you need. Restrictions and details apply. Limit 2.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. When I say the word snacks, you probably think chips and cookies, you know, things that are considered unhealthy. But when I say snacks from Nature Box, I'm talking about over 80 delicious snacks made with simple ingredients, all under 200 calories per serving. Snacks like Asiago and cheddar cheese crisp and sriracha roasted cashews delivered straight to your door. Visit naturebox.com/radio, and for a limited time, get a free box with 4 snacks. That's a $19 value for free. Visit naturebox.com/radio for your free box with 4 snacks today.
Rich Eisen here. The Honda Accord is a summer standout. It's stylish, spacious, and thanks to the available 278 horsepower V6 engine with sport mode, it's got moves too. It even comes...
Oh yeah, I shared that stuff too. That was good stuff, man.
Driver assistive technologies like the collision mitigation braking system. It helps bring the Accord to a stop when it senses that there could be an impact. So hurry into the Honda Summerbration sales event where well-qualified buyers can score a...
All right, check y'all's emails. I emailed them to you, Jeff, and Clyde. Okay, it's the My Spot Locker stuff.
Employees happy and finance happy.
Well, yeah, it's funny. Like, you know, I mean, inter-iHeart emails, we can still, send big giant files, but we use the My Spot Locker stuff for that.
That they have full visibility into employee spend. Plus, Concur integrates with leading finance systems. Concur makes the process better for everyone. Concur. Expense, travel, invoice. Learn more at concur.com.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval.
All right, 1 minute.
Need some extra cash today? Do you have bad credit or maxed out credit cards? If so, turn your radio up. 67cash.com is one of the nation's largest personal loan networks with over 50 different lenders. Now you can get a personal loan for up to $5,000 with any type of credit discreetly from your computer or smartphone and with no paperwork to send in. That's right, no paperwork whatsoever. Your cash will hit your bank account as soon as tomorrow, as our lenders have millions of dollars to lend, regardless of your credit history. Just have a checking account and a regular source of income. Go to 67cash.com and you can get the loan you need now, regardless of your credit. Go to 67cash.com from your smartphone or computer to get the cash you need. Visit 67cash.com. Type www.67cash.com directly into the address bar. That's 67cash.
All right, ladies, showtime.
Cash.com.
Dunc and Holder, hour number 2 of our Friday episode here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeart Radio app. And we've had a lot of LSU discussion today. We heard from LSU head football coach Ed Orgeron in the first hour. If you missed any of that, you could jump on our NOLA.com iTunes page, our SoundCloud page, and you can go to sports1280.com and you can check out the podcast after the show is over. Now, coming up here in a second, Jeff and I had a chance to catch up on our own with Ed Orgeron last night at the Tiger Tour, which was at Walk-Ons in New Orleans on Poitras. And Jeff, we kind of alluded to it in the first hour. He was pretty much an open book, I'd say, when we chatted with him. And we bounced some broad topics and then brought it a little more micro rather than macro. But honestly, I think the listeners are going to enjoy this interview.
I was surprised there weren't more people at this event. I don't know if they didn't publicize it well enough or people just had stuff to do. But, yeah, LSU the head football coach, right before the start of the season when everybody's all hyped up, and there was probably 40 people there.
And it was free.
And it was free, yeah. It was amazing to me that there was such a small turnout. I think if it had been publicized better, there would have been a lot more people there.
Well, fortunately for us, Coach O had a chance to and gave us some time for us to catch up with him. So let's play that interview in its entirety.
It's been a long time from you being with the Saints into where you are now. You said you learned a lot from Sean. How much have you learned along the way, and how much have you picked up along the way to take you to becoming LSU's head coach?
Well, a lot of the practices that we do are built on the structure that Sean practiced at the Saints. We run an NFL style practice when one of the guys fast, crisp, less plays, more demanding, obviously. We don't go many scout team plays. We go one offense versus two defense, two offense versus one offense, just like they do in the NFL. Taking shots down the field. A lot of his play calling, obviously we can't duplicate it, but I liked a lot of his mannerisms and the things that he did on offense. We just don't have Drew Brees.
Coach, I think I read somewhere where you said you're not coaching like a defensive line coach anymore. What do you mean by that?
Well, your defensive line coach, man, it's get after it every day. I mean, it's technique, hard nose. The standard is so high, and you just don't let off the gas pedal. Just don't. You can't. That's where your guys are going to play. But, coaching a big defensive lineman and coaching a quarterback is two different things. You approach and the way you speak to them, the way you speak to a receiver, the way you speak to an offensive lineman, and the way I speak to the coaches. I go in there as the head coach, and I'm looking at the overall program. And I let our guys coach, but I do make recommendations when things are broke. say, hey man, come on here. How can we fix this? And that's the difference.
Is that something that you it matured in your second go round from Ole Miss?
Yeah, it's something I had to do. You know, I lost that job at Ole Miss because I went in there as a very successful defensive line coach, but it didn't work as a head coach, and it was my way to handle it. And then you got to hire people, let them coach, let them do their job, but you can also still be demanding in a different tone.
How much do you battle the reputation that you can, like, for example, you go to ESPN, half the time they're asking you about you running down the street with your shirt on. I mean, how much do you feel like you've got to overcome that expectation?
You know, here's the thing. Here's the great thing is that I don't live like that anymore, so I don't have to battle it. I don't have to battle it myself. You know what I'm saying? That's not me anymore, so I know what I do. I'm a family man. I do things different than I did in the past, so I'm okay with it. But I understand it's out there, and I got to live up to it because I did do it. But it doesn't bother me at all.
Do you juggle trying to embrace it as opposed to being like, I don't want to talk about that?
No, I'm prepared for it. You know, 'cause there's something that in all our lives we don't run from what we did. We face it, but we make changes too.
Well, see, you just mentioned you hear a lot about Alabama.
Yeah.
The expectation of the LSU head coach is that's who you got to be.
That's right.
You seem to be not running from that. You seem to be embracing that.
No, I know it's true. I'm a fan. I grew up in Louisiana. I know how it is. But you know, the times that we played Alabama in my career, we haven't been far from them. You know, I think we lost them an average of 3 points when I was at Ole Miss. And last year we're going into the fourth quarter, 0-0. You know? So I understand. You know, I respect what they've done, but you have to beat them. I mean, when you at USC, you got to beat UCLA and Notre Dame. When we was at Miami, you got to beat Florida State. So I understand the rules.
But there might be the greatest modern football dynasty we've seen.
No question. Yeah, no question.
So how do you go about? That's a huge expectation.
Yeah, but here's what we do, and I said this before. We work with LSU Tigers. Now, we have our own system. And we're going to do what we know how to do. LSU has won championships before. And then that's just one game. We're going to do the recruiting the way we know how to recruit. We're going to work out the way we know how to work out. And we feel that we have a championship program. But we have to go ahead and prove it on the field.
You mentioned if Danny's the starting quarterback.
Right.
How legitimate is that quarterback competition? Or I don't want to say it's lip service because, I mean, it's a senior going up against
it's not lip service. It's fair.
Okay.
I won't say it's fair. And you know what? Hey, any position on the field is fair. Now, I don't know anybody that's going to beat out Darius guys, but if they do, I'd like to see
You'd be really impressed.
I'm excited. But it's fair. And I want the guys to know that they have a legitimate chance to beat them out. Now, can they? Can a freshman overcome them? We'll see.
You mentioned Matt Canada's offense and that he's not going to run the exact same offense that he ran at Pittsburgh. So what are we going to see? How is it going to be different?
Well, it's going to be spread, obviously. There's going to be up-tempo. There'll be different tempos. It's going to be 50-50. Run pass. You won't see a fullback in the backfield. You know, we have our fullbacks are without tight ends now. You'll see. Last year we had a 2 tight end set, 2 receivers, 1 back. You'll see that. You'll see 1 tight end, 3 receivers. You see a bunch of that, and you see 4 wides.
So as an ex-defensive coach, or as a defensive coach,
yeah,
what makes his offenses so hard to?
All the motions and shifts. You can't get your cleats in the grass. I mean, every play is shift there. You don't know what he's going to end up doing. And the thing that's good about it is all these motions and shifts, they tend to get you soft, and then he plays physical, comes after you.
Have you kind of noticed a welcome change from the people who were, in the previous offense to this offense?
Yeah, the players are excited about it. Mm-hmm. But still, let me say this, we still got to go execute. There's a lot of talk and all that stuff. But shoot, it doesn't matter what you run, you got to execute and be good at it. But I do believe that he has proved that he can make plays, score points, and now he's got better football players. Now we're going against better defenses, but I do believe in him, what he can do.
And you obviously defense lost a ton of talent. How can you replace that quickly? Is it possible, or are they going to be maybe some growing pains at some of those spots?
There's going to be some growing pains, but I believe in our coaches. I mean, you got Pete Jenkins, Dave Aranda, Corey Raymond, myself. You got some pretty good coaches on defense. Dennis Johnson's a pretty young coach. Pretty salty there. And I do believe that we have the talent to make them better. But the schedule sets up that we got to get better throughout the season.
How many freshmen do you think will play?
You know, I hope they all play. I said the other day, I think maybe 7 may play on defense. Not start, but be in a rotation. And we're going to use them all on special teams. I hope every one of them freshmen play. I hope they all do.
So philosophically, you're not opposed to throwing them out there?
If they're ready. No, they're not ready. I don't want to burn a year. I don't want a guy playing 10 plays and being redshirt. You know what I mean? I want to be smart.
Any new wrinkles you're going to have in basically training camp? Are there any different things that you're going to tweak in, because this is the first time you'll be working
it's
this?
Completely different than what we've done before. This is a new page. We flipped the script. Yeah.
Any examples you can give?
Well, I mean, really just, more meeting time, more walkthrough time, less time on a practice field, but practicing fast with more energy, having preseason games on Saturday. I mean, we're going to make it just like a game.
And you mentioned how important a hire Mickey Joseph was in this city. Why?
Yeah. He can recruit, and he's well known. And he's from Louisiana. He understands Louisiana. He's an excellent coach. He's an excellent wide receiver coach. I'm going to tell you what, man, he's been a dynamite hire. He's been dynamite. Our players love him. He's going to do a great job of recruiting. I believe in him.
As far as opening game, BYU, it's maybe random, but do you feel like you're almost at a little bit of a disadvantage because they have a game before that?
Well, we get to see what they're going to do, obviously.
Oh, that's true. You actually get film.
We get to see personnel.
True.
So it doesn't mean that we're going to be at a disadvantage, but it doesn't mean that they necessarily go do in their first game what they do against us. So, but it does give us an advantage. We get to see them play. We're going to simulate some game-type situations to make it to where it's not a disadvantage for us.
Who do you feel like that we haven't seen a lot of in the last couple of years is ready to kind of make an emergence?
I hope Drake Davis is that guy. I really hope that Drake Davis is good. The guy I'm going to talk about tonight is Foster Morrow. You may not notice him. He's one of the best players on the football team. Rashard Lawrence, a defensive end. Those young linebackers, they got to play.
What's that first Tiger Walk going to be like for you as the official head coach?
It's going to be great, man. It's going to be great. You know what? I never make it for me. I quit doing that, man. It's all about the players. It's all about the coaches. It's about the fans. I'm just part of it, man. I never make it for me. It ain't. Is it going to be exciting? Yeah. But I'm more excited to see the kids fired up, the fans fired up. That's what I love about being the head coach at LSU.
But a lot about, I think we're talking about your reputation, a lot about you is getting people fired up. How do you tailor that back when that's...
Well, it's not going to be tailored back.
Okay.
It ain't going to be tailored back, but I'm not... It ain't going to be, hey, look at me. That's not what it's all about. It's about being part of. It's about being part of a team. One team, one heartbeat, baby.
I've heard you say that once or twice.
That's it. Good to see you guys. Thank you, man. Appreciate
it.
There you go.
I came away from that interview liking Ed Orgeron way more than I even thought I would, honestly.
He's an engaging guy, and you can see why he's such a good recruiter. And so far, he's pushed all the right buttons. I mean, he had the crowd hanging on every word he said last night. But he's going to eventually, he knows, he's going to have to win games. That's what LSU the expectations at LSU are, to win championships. They have a championship-level program. He mentioned that to us. But eventually they're going to have to overcome Alabama, and that's the way he'll eventually be measured.
I wonder if the fan base remember when Les Miles first started, and if I'm not mistaken, did he start not when it was Katrina, because was it the first year there was a hurricane, or I forget when he had to play Tennessee and he lost, and it was people wanted his head.
Right.
I think it was like game 1.
Right.
They wanted his head. And do you think LSU fans are more open to giving Ed Orgeron a chance as opposed to Les Miles follows Nick Saban and the expectations were, a year or two removed from a national championship? Do you think Ed Orgeron's going to get more leeway from obviously the fans, and they pay their salary? He's a public figure, the highest paid public employee in the state of Louisiana.
He certainly will have a longer leash than Miles had.
You think with the fan base?
Well, yeah, he's a Louisiana guy, so they're going to be more forgiving of him, but eventually they're going to want to see results. There's no question If he loses 4 or 5 years in a row to Alabama, he's going to be in trouble. He knows that. And that's not – I'm not saying that's fair. That's just the way it is. And but right now, he's won over most of the state, and I think his players love playing for him, and that's a huge factor. I mean, this team rallies around him and is going to play hard for him. And like I said earlier, these 2 coordinators he has are as good as anybody in the country, so that's a huge step up, I think, from what they had before. I mean, LSU under Les Miles was just such an underachieving team. It's such great talent, and it wasn't being utilized. And I think LSU fans are smart enough to realize that, and we're frustrated by it. So we'll see how this plays out.
And I asked about practice, and he says it's going to be completely different. I think that's a pretty interesting thing. And it's also going to be completely different, say, offensively, because you got a different coordinator. And I think one thing that Ed Orgeron was talking to the crowd as we go to break right here on Dunc and Holder, that he learned from Sean Payton how to practice fast, master, say, 10 plays, get them super crisp, and have more teaching and walkthrough and stuff like that, where you're not running 30 plays and it's something where you're kind of beating your head against the wall. He's taken that away from Sean Payton and is going to try to implement that with LSU.
Very NFL-like. And there's some influence there with Greg McMahon as well.
Very true. Absolutely. So we come on back. Saints training camp practice number 2 is in the books. We are getting updates, and we will bring them to you next. Sports 1280, Dunc and Holder coming back at you.
Come on, to the left, to the left, to the right, to the right, to the front, to the front.
Welcome to the grind.
This one is gone.
The day in, day out. One series to the next.
100-mile-an-hour struck him out.
The Cakes take on the Fresno Grizzlies tonight at 9, only on Sports 1280. Your home for the New Orleans Baby Cakes.
Napa know-how.
There are lots of amazing cars on the road, but perhaps none more amazing than the paid-off car. It may not be pretty, but the price is right. Heck, if you keep that thing running, it'll actually start paying you. Because with Napa Rewards, for every $100 you spend, you'll get $5 off. So keep your car running longer, stronger with Napa Rewards, and watch the savings start rolling in. That's Napa Know-How.
Napa know-how.
Our 2017 iHeartRadio Music Festival, hosted by Ryan Seacrest. September 22nd and 23rd at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Buy your tickets today at 12 p.m. Ticket info at iHeartRadio.com/tickets.
Brought to you by Macy's. Macy's presents your opening act at the iHeartRadio Music Festival, Rising Star winner James Maslow. For new music and exclusive content from James Maslow and other hot artists, check out iHeartRadio.com/mstyleradio.
Spicer. Battle for
Rich Eisen here. If you're not willing to make changes to your golf game, then how can you expect to get better, people? It's an honest question, and it's one that Callaway has been asking golfers ever since they introduced Chrome Soft. The golfers who have made the change to Chrome Soft know from experience that it's a different kind of ball. It's the only golf ball with a dual soft fast core, which makes Chrome Soft extremely fast, incredibly soft, and unbelievably easy to control, which is why Phil Mickelson, Patrick Reed, Wes Bryant, and Jim Furyk are all playing and winning with Chrome Soft. The innovative dual soft fast core is one of the many reasons why Callaway has been the fastest growing golf ball brand since 2013. But there are still golfers out there who haven't tried Chrome Soft. Let me ask those golfers something. What's wrong with you? You have to be willing to change to get better. Chrome Soft and the new Chrome Soft X are in stores now. Go to CallawayGolf.com to learn more. Chrome Soft, it's the ball that changed the ball.
If you have a Lowe's Advantage card,
all right, 1 minute.
For 5% off every day on items big or small. So you can save an extra 5% on a new coat of paint, updating appliances, replacing the flooring, and even save an extra 5%.
Okay.
Applies laundry detergent and air filters. The big to-dos to the everyday essentials. You get an extra 5% savings every day when you use your Lowe's Advantage card. If you don't have one, apply today. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Subject to credit approval and can't be combined with any other credit offers. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
Howdy, folks. Colonel Sanders here to announce that KFC's new spicy, crispy Zinger chicken sandwich is now available in a $5 fill-up for a limited time. Why? Because who wants to spend $7 on a meal at a burger place when you could spend $5 on a hand-breaded Zinger chicken sandwich, wages, a cookie, and a drink at KFC? I mean, we specialize in chicken. You need another reason? I didn't think so. Try the Zinger in a $5 fill-up at KFC today. KFC, it's finger-licking good. Limited time offer at participating KFCs. Tax extra.
This is Dunc Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Yeah, Spider-Man and Freeze in full effect.
I will say this, that we got a compliment last night at the Tiger Tour stop for you, Dave, for all the music that you play, and it's spot on. People are listening for you, my friend. They're listening for you. Spinning all the tunes that we heard in the late 80s and early 90s, and even early 80s. We're in.
Totally agree that maybe the leading aspect of the show is the music as opposed to the commentary.
Or the dance moves that now, I feel like every break, we've just become these performance artists on our YouTube Live, and we all do all these dance moves. And poor Clyde, we're going to work him to death because he's going to make the GIF, whatever you want to call it. That's going to be his job from now on, just simply dance moves. And we will be the butt of everyone's jokes.
That's sort of what we live to do.
If you read message boards, we are the butt of jokes already.
Well,
so that's
true.
the way it is.
We give them actual fodder.
Absolutely. So, but hey, we'll take it in stride. But Saints just finishing training camp practice number 2 at the Saints facility. What's the name of the Saints facility now? The Ochsner Sports Performance Center?
Correct.
I got to get used to saying that.
It's hard to be at the Saints facility and not see something with the Ochsner logo on it now.
Well, they paid for it. They better get some pub.
The locker room is also heavily Ochsner-centric.
I would certainly think that would be the case. But today at practice, Traven Doral is off the – what was he on? What list was it? I don't know if it was PUP or whatever it was. The former LSU wide receiver now practicing. He's good to go, so that's obviously a good sign. Jeff, it was the NFI list, non-football injury list. So he's back on the active roster and participated in practice today. And, Jeff, you broke some rules. Marshawn Lattimore is now 23. You said that in the first hour, and you will never be allowed to go to practice again because that was the key to the success of the 2017 Saints.
If you listen to Dunc Holder, you get this breaking news all the time. So we did get a little bit of a look at the team early on today, and the thing that I noticed, just a couple things on defense, the same starting linebacker crew that we saw yesterday, A.J. Klein, Monte Te'o, and Stephon Anthony. But they were working in some guys with the ones on defense that I thought was interesting. Alex Anzalone working as the number 2 weak side linebacker, but in sub packages, he was working into that starting sub package. So he's going to see some time, I think, at least get an opportunity to. And the other guy that got some sub work with the ones was Eric Harris, the guy we mentioned yesterday. He was seeing some time in these multiple safety looks, subbing in as well. So I think all these guys are going to be given a look. Remember the old Greg Williams line? It takes all 27 to make 11 or something. I can't remember how he referenced it, but in other words,
you're not supposed to ever reference Greg Williams, Jeff. He's only supposed to feed you draft picks before the picks actually happen.
I forgot about that. That's right.
I will never forget that.
Oh, gosh. What a joke that was. But Dennis Allen very much runs a Greg Williams-style system. He's going to use every player he can in the rotation. So it's going to be fun to watch tomorrow when they put the pads on and we get a chance to see these guys in real action and we can judge if they do have a pass rush or not.
Well, yeah, you and me actually get to go watch the full practice. And fortunately for us, it's the first and second padded practices, so we're going to be able to get a lot of perspective from that. Our colleague Josh Katzenstein, of course, I mentioned it to you, we're not on the practice field. We are on our headsets, and our eyes and ears for many training camp practices will be our vast staff of NOLA.com and Times-Picayune, Saints beat reporters, photogs, video peeps, you name it. they'll be out there blanket coverage. But you mentioned the linebackers, and it seemed like, let me go read Josh's tweet here real quick, that in sub packages with the ones, that A.J. Klein moved to the inside and to be the middle linebacker, and Manti Te'o came off the field. And Sean Payton said that would happen, and it looks like that happened. So they're working on that. But the linebacker group, I feel like we beat it into the ground, but I think it's so intriguing. And I know we have differing philosophies on how important are linebackers per se to the defense. Obviously, you're going to still play linebackers, but I feel like every position is up for grabs, and the Saints need to get better there. And so it's the main reason why we harp on it so much, because new faces, new places, and who's going to be out there, we don't really know at all at this point.
And, like we said yesterday, who is really going to be a difference maker in that group? I don't know if they have one. I think they've got a lot of steady players, a lot of smart veteran guys along with Anzalone, the rookie. But I don't think there's Luke Kuechly or Thomas Davis that's going to, cause opposing offenses to game plan around them. But I do think they're going to be deeper there. And we mentioned Mike Maudie. I mean, I think he's going to factor in. Nate Stupar also factors into the depth at that position. But I still think this defense will rise or fall on its ability to rush the passer, and we really haven't had a chance to see any of that yet because they haven't been in pads. Tomorrow will be our first chance to see live pass rush action, and Ryan Ramczyk is going to be under fire. I mean, he's the left tackle, and people are going to come after him. This is the big leagues, and they're going to test him right away, so it's going to be fun to watch.
And like yesterday's practice, and I'm assuming we're going to see this for the next week or two, Ryan Ramczyk, Khalif Barnes, both playing left tackle with the ones. That's the race we're going to watch, with Teron Armstead being out for at least half the season. We're going to see that. And believe it or not, get the Brandon Coleman hype train moving again. Apparently he had a great practice, had some good catches over Delvin Breaux. I remember writing 2 years ago when we were up at the Greenbrier, leading my practice observations, Brandon Coleman, this, that, the other, and at times he can look great in practice. And last year, though, in training camp practices, he was pedestrian, so much so that Sean Payton even called him out for being basically just a guy, essentially. So good start for him. I don't think he's on the bubble on the roster, but you'd like to see improvement from him, and he's always kind of that enigma. He's that 6'6" body. Sometimes he can play well. Sometimes he's alligator arms, and he's going to let you down. So get the hype train going, Jeff. Get him.
Sounds like Adrian Arrington 2. Remember, every year we'd hear about Adrian Arrington, and then when the season would start, he'd disappear.
My old radio days with my my buddy Gus Cattengill, he was an Adrian Arrington fanatic, and my
is that possible?
And my line to him was, "We're giving Amco, the Amco, like the
yes."
So I gave them free pub all the time because they were AA MCO. I would always say AA CUT. Get him out of here. Cut Arrington. I'm not going to go that far with Coleman, but yeah, AA. That guy was like the camp superstar, and he never did anything.
I will say this, and it strikes me every year when I'm out here, when I see Coleman. I mean, he's an imposing guy. I mean, he towers over everybody out there. He looks almost like a tight end, although he's much slighter than, say, Jimmy Graham. But he definitely looks the part, and I think that's why he keeps getting these chances, because they want to see if he can blossom. They're very patient with him, but he's going to have to step up this year because he's clearly, I think, is the number 4 receiver on this team.
You can't teach 6'6", so I think that's the reason why they stick with him. And he's in a one-year deal right now, so it's kind of a prove-it deal for him. Let's take a quick break right here on Dunc and Holder. We will hear from Drew Brees. He spoke to the media yesterday and had some interesting comments. And we will also, Sean Payton is currently speaking to the media. Any tidbits we see from our colleagues, we will pass them to you. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeart Radio app. We're Dunc and Holder. Amadeus.
Your forecast on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
This report is brought to you by the T.J. Martell Foundation.
From ding, ding, ding. Meteorologist Bruce Katz, TGIF on your Friday today. Temperatures up to 97 degrees. Not expecting much rain, so take it easy out there. Going to be a hot one tonight. Fair skies with lows in the upper 70s, but then after midnight, clouds increase. After midnight, in 70% coverage for tomorrow. High temperature in the upper 80s. The good news, we clear out, turn less humid. Yeah, they're on the same level, absolutely. To the Gulf. From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz with your Weather Authority forecast.
Hey everybody, I'm Eric Church, asking you to join me in the fight against leukemia, cancer, and AIDS for the T.J. Martell Foundation. Your support helps facilitate cutting-edge research that will lead to more effective treatments and save more lives. Visit tjmartell.org to learn about music's promise through cure. This week on...
yeah, that's throwback, huh?
The Audubon Zoo for just...
Yeah. Dude, you know what you really need to find? You go on the iHeart app and go to the Freestyle channel. Man, that one's fun. It's like you're stuck. It's like you're stuck in a Metairie Parade, you know, or in Key's Key West. Take your pick.
Loans are subject to lender approval. See website.
Yeah.
Do you have bad credit or maxed out credit cards? If so, turn your radio up. 67 cash.
Oh, God. Yeah, like the dentist, that last float at the very end with the hippo, and they're all dancing with the tambourines. Woo! They got nothing to throw, no cups, nothing to throw. They're just dancing.
Send in. That's right.
It's like they're at the end of the parade with a keg, and it's like, okay, parade's almost done. We're just starting.
Our lenders have lend, regardless of your credit history. Just have a checking account and a
I'm sure. Okay.
67cash.com, and you can get the loan.
Hey, Dave, cut this audio that I'm not going to use.
Go to 67cash, smartphone or computer, to get the cash you need. Visit 67cash.com. Type www.67cash.com directly into the address bar. That's 67cash.com. 67cash.com.
AutoZone presents the oil change. Regular oil changes protect your engine from wear and tear, helping your car roll well beyond the 100,000-mile mark. And right now, you can get 5 quarts of Valvoline conventional motor oil and an STP filter for just $23.99. So visit your local AutoZone. With over 5,000 locations, the right supplies and good advice are just around the corner. Let's get you what you need. See store for restrictions and details.
It's vacation season. That means good times and bad snacking. From greasy gas station chips to whatever's on the plane for $12. Ouch. This summer, snack better with NatureBox. NatureBox delivers snacks right to your door with over 80 unique snacks, all under 200 calories per serving.
So we don't embarrass ourselves the entire
NatureBox.com/radio. And for a limited time, get a free box with 4 snacks. That's a $19 value for free. Visit NatureBox.com/radio for your free box with 4 snacks today.
When you need it, spends a little too much time in the sun relief. Yikes. Oh, what the? Attack of the angry mosquito relief. Hey, watch this.
It's a lot early in it.
Relief. You need Gold Bond Pain and Itch Relief Cream with lidocaine. Gold Bond has the maximum strength lidocaine available without a prescription and starts working on contact.
At the office. Yeah.
Relief starts now. Use as directed.
New Orleans sports talk about your favorite teams. Sports 1280.
Dunc Holder here with you and Sports 1280. And look, we're new to the radio game. And of course, iHeart in New Orleans. We have a ton of radio stations, some of the best radio stations and most listened to stations in the market. But I've just received an education. Dave, what you're getting all this music, and it's right up one of our new stations' alley. What station is it? Because I need to put it on my dial because it's incredible.
Oh, yeah, that's Throwback 96.3, man.
I need to get on that, like, immediately.
Oh, that's for sure.
Or the iHeart Radio app. My favorite is Freestyle. That's the Freestyle channel. It's like you're stuck in a Metairie Parade and the dance team is stuck right in front of you.
I was saying in the break, I love when the short-haired lady in the tambourine comes up and she is just jamming out. That's what I feel like I'm hearing with this music, and it's on 96.3. So given the station.
Was that Wham or George Michael we just heard? Was that Wham?
I think
that was George Michael.
That was straight up George. Who was the other guy in Wham?
Who cares?
Jeff is currently looking it up. It's on his computer
I will
screen
have that
right
answer
now.
for you. Andrew Ridgely.
He's
the
like
lesser-known member of
He's like
Lamb.
the other guy in Bosom Buddies, Tom Hanks and the other guy.
Yes, very much.
Who's
Andrew
the other
Ridgely,
guy?
I don't know.
It's like Peter something. I don't know.
Cetera?
No, not. I love Peter Cetera. That's my guy.
Oh, gosh. Can we go to Drew Brees?
Absolutely. Let's go to Drew Brees, who probably, since he's a year older than me, probably loves himself some Peter Cetera as well. Drew Brees spoke with the media in the locker room yesterday, and Sean Payton is speaking currently right now to the media, but what Drew Brees had to say yesterday was a little more interesting, and let's get his reaction on opening up training camp, getting back on the field with the guys, and his assessment after day one of practice yesterday.
Listen, I thought it was good. I mean, yesterday we had a pretty challenging conditioning test, so and that was yesterday afternoon. So I think, to recover from that very quickly and go out and get in the heat. It was a lot of volume, it was a lot of plays, pretty fast paced. I think the guys handled it well. I mean, I think it's definitely takes a few days to just get your legs underneath you, and get back into that football mode and football shape. And, that's why you don't put the pads on right away. You give guys a chance to adjust, and then once you get the pads on, then, you're really, really...
All right, that's it.
And tomorrow they get the pads on. And, look, in the passing game, according to our colleagues out who are covering practice right now, it seemed like Drew Brees had a good day, a good rapport with Brandon Coleman, obviously good to see. And yesterday in practice, Drew Brees kind of got tangled up, and it almost looked like he kind of maybe got dinged up in his knee or something, and there was kind of some concern. Sean Payton was asked about it yesterday, and according to some of our colleagues out there, no panic. Drew Brees looked like Drew Brees, sharp, crisp. Drew is almost bionic.
Yeah, he even looked good early today when I was watching him. He was right on the money with his accuracy, hooked up with Willie Snead a couple times downfield. He's the last person that the Saints or Saints fans need to worry about. He's going to be ready. And we talked to him after the large group interview.
Yeah, you had a chance to catch up with him right after our show. We hot-tailed it over back to the Saints facility, and you had a chance to catch up with him.
And he was in a great mood and very, as usual, very optimistic.
Of course.
Drew Brees is always optimistic. He even noted that about himself. But had a really good conversation with him about how he purposefully carries himself in the huddle with his body language, trying to instill confidence in his teammates, not only through his body language, but the way he looks his teammates in the eyes, the way he even calls the play in the huddle with enthusiasm and trying to kind of lend an air of confidence that this play is going to work. Everything he does is thought out. It's really fascinating, and that'll be the subject of a later column I'm going to write this spring. But, this fall. It was fascinating listening to him. I mean, this guy's leaves no stone unturned in his job as the leader of the team and the quarterback.
And I'm also going to write a column surrounding him and some other famous quarterbacks on how they deal with nerves, the human nature of nerves. And Drew Brees, I feel like I've only seen him maybe make one throw where he looked nervous, and I think it was this first kind of deep pass in the Super Bowl. It was almost or maybe it was either there or the NFC Championship game where he overthrew a guy, and you almost got the sense it was nerves, and then that shut down. It was back to business like he's done it a zillion times.
Yeah, he always talks about preparation eliminates a lot of those nerves. He still gets butterflies, he said, and that's natural, but I think he feels his preparation eliminates a lot of the anxiety. And one thing we should say, Saints officials have kind of given us the word that if you're interested in coming out to practice on Monday, there's still a few tickets left. You have to go online and register at NewOrleansSaints.com. They're free tickets, but you do have to register. They are going fast. They've sold out both practices tomorrow on Saturday and on Sunday. But if you still have time, you can get online and still get a few of the remaining tickets on Monday. The team and everybody is off on Tuesday. So if you want to come Monday, hop, skip, and a jump to your computer and get registered.
Yeah, absolutely. And, again, NewOrleansSaints.com where you can get those tickets. Because if you come to the Saints facility on Saturday or Sunday or Monday and you don't have one, you're out of luck. And it's you don't want to be out of luck if you come all the way over here. But Drew Brees, we talked with Mike Florio yesterday at ProFootballTalk.com about contract. And Drew understands the questions come. Didn't sound like he really wanted to talk about it, but in typical Drew fashion, takes what's thrown at him as far as a question. And Drew just kind of stayed the company line when it came to his talk of the final year of his contract.
Well, I mean, I guess you guys are going to keep asking me about it, but not. Yeah, but I guess there's that's not my sense of urgency. My sense of urgency is in making myself and my team better and putting ourselves in the best position to go out this year and have success. And I know that stuff takes care of itself. You know, it takes care of itself when it's supposed to. It's just not. That shouldn't be the priority right now.
And for Drew, it's not the priority. He says, I'm going to play this contract out, and we're going to see what happens afterwards. And by doing that, though, leads the speculation, borderline panic that he might not be the Saints quarterback next year.
Yeah, he's trying to quash that from becoming a thing, but it's going to become a thing. It's not going away. The fact is, a player of his caliber never goes into a season unsigned long term. It just doesn't happen in this league. And the fact that his agent, Tom Condon, and Mickey Loomis have clearly come to some kind of a understanding that they will cross that bridge after this season, but it's not going to go away. And we know Drew Brees detests distractions, and something like this can become that. And so he's doing his due diligence trying to eliminate that quickly and let us know that he's not going to talk about it.
And, well, Drew, what happens if you have a big year and your contract is up? How are you going to handle that this offseason? Hear what he had to say.
I expect to anyway. I mean, you know, like that mindset is the same every year. So I really am not. I'm really not thinking about anything further than just what's in front of me right this second. But again, all that stuff will take care of itself.
That's it.
And Jeff, you wrote a column earlier in the week about the Saints needing to get off to a fast start. I wrote a column that came out yesterday saying the Saints don't have to say it, but we all know it. It's a crossroad year for them. What did Drew Brees have to say about the sense of urgency this team feels going into this training camp?
Just, you know, sense of urgency. But you know, listen, I think what tends to happen is that, listen, we're in a results-driven business, right? So the result was not what we wanted over the last 3 years. And I think that the longer that goes, I think the human nature is, and based upon the pressure that's put on you, is that you press, and you're so focused on the end result that maybe you just lose track of the process that it takes to get there. So I've always been a firm believer, if you focus on the process, the result takes care of itself. Especially now, here we are, day one of training camp. You know, day one. We've got such a long road and long journey ahead of us. So we can't be looking to week one. I'm not looking to week one right now. I'm not thinking about the Minnesota Vikings right now. I'm thinking about how I can make the guys around me better right now, how I can make myself better, how I want to compete every day against our defense and make them better. I mean, that's all I'm thinking about right now. So it's just one day at a time, one objective and one goal at a time. So it's just focusing on the process.
All right.
Drew might sound cliche, but he believes it. And he's not just telling you that. Like, even though it sounds like quarterback speak, coach speak, I mean, he believes it.
Totally. There's no doubt about it. You can be cynical because it does sound very trite and staid, but there's no doubt this is a guy that follows a routine like no one I've ever covered, and he sticks to it, and it's what's led him to greatness. It's why he has become one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game, and so he's never going to veer off that. Matter of fact, the whole time we were talking to him yesterday, he had one eye on the clock because he was telling us he needed to get in and get into his film preparation from the practice because that's the way he does things.
Let's take one final break right here on Dunc and Holder. If you missed any of our show, we have it up on podcast on our NOLA.com iTunes page, NOLA.com SoundCloud page, and on the podcast section at sports1280.com. Week number 2 of Dunc and Holder about to be in the books. I'm still surprised we're still on the air. I'm going to say that after every week. I'm just going to say it. So maybe after this next segment, they will can us for good. Hey, you never know. But come on back, sports1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're Dunc and Holder.
13-month-old baby.
Clay, Travis, I believe that everybody out there who wants to bet on sports gambling should not have to do it illegally. Mornings 5 to 8. You shouldn't have to worry about whether or not you're breaking the law. Sports 1280. New Orleans. We've all heard this. I'm hungry. On a snack attack? Well, attacks? Nature Box has you covered with delicious snacks you can feel good about. Delivered right to your door. Asiago and cheddar cheese crisps, whole wheat chocolate chip cookies, and over 80 more unique snacks, all under 200 calories per serving, so you can indulge too. Visit naturebox.com/radio, and for a limited time, get a free box with what? Y'all broke the internet? Tell you for free. Visit naturebox.com/radio for your free box with 4 snacks today.
If you have a Lowe's Advantage card, you can get an extra 5% off every day on items big or small. So you can save an extra 5% on a new coat of paint, updating appliances, replacing the flooring, and even save an extra 5% on little things like cleaning supplies, laundry detergent, and air filters. The big to-dos to the everyday essentials. You get an extra 5% savings every day when you use your Lowe's Advantage card. If you don't have one, apply today. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Subject to credit approval and can't be combined with any other credit offers. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
Honda's having a summer party called the Honda Summerbration Sales Event, where there are great deals on the 2017 Accord. With an available 278 horsepower V6 engine with sport mode, it's perfect for long summer drives. Plus, it has adaptive cruise control, a system that helps you maintain a safe following distance even if the driver in front of you changes speed. But you better hurry to your local Honda dealer because, like summer, the Honda Summerbration Sales Event will not last long. Don't wait. Check out the Honda Summerbration Sales Event going on now.
Concur does what might seem impossible for your business. It makes employees happy and finance happy. How? Well, employees love automated expense reports and invoices they can submit and approve from anywhere. And finance loves that they have full visibility into employee spend. Plus, Concur integrates with leading finance systems. Concur makes the process better for everyone. Concur. Expense, travel, invoice. Learn more at concur.com.
The Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority presents the Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise Back to School Family Health Expo. It's Saturday, August 12th at the Dryads YMCA, 10 until 2 o'clock. The day will include school supplies and health screenings. The D&D Youth Organization is a mentoring group that teaches using the discipline of boxing. Come to their fundraiser on August 19th featuring Greg Truecham Davis. Go to dndyouth.org. A message from Sports 1280 Communities, helping to make a difference in New Orleans.
1 hour air conditioning and heating, together with Micro. 1 hour.
All right, 10 seconds.
To choose licensed technicians to service your home. Call 1 hour today. 855-1-HOUR. That's 855-1-HOUR.
Dunc and Holder now. Josh Innes next at noon on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Jeff, over the break, you got an update from the Saints about practice availability. Why don't you throw it out at the listeners?
It didn't take long. The Monday practice is now sold out. So now the next 3 practices open to the public are all sold out. So your next chance, if you didn't get in on the registration for those 3 practices, your next chance will be next Wednesday, I believe, right?
Right. They have an off day on Tuesday, and they will return back to practice on Wednesday. And, Jeff, I almost feel like even though we weren't able to watch practice, and I'm sure things happen, yes, that's great, but tomorrow is when it really gets rolling. Pads, I'm curious for me, I'm ready to see one person in pads, and it's Adrian Peterson.
I think he's going to be the subject of a lot of attention tomorrow. It's going to be interesting to see how they work Ingram and him together. And I think, Drew Brees alluded to this in his comments a little while ago, that they strategically don't practice in pads the first couple of days to allow the players to get their legs under them. But by tomorrow, I think these guys are all going to want to hit somebody. I mean, it's the nature of football. And I think the linemen in particular, they don't like this halfway, three-quarter speed engagement. They want to engage fully, and that all starts tomorrow. It's going to be fun to watch.
I also think it's part of the CBA where the players negotiated first 2 days of training camp can't be padded.
Right. And I also think that it's something that the league has kept a close watch on with the conditioning of these players. I know the Saints, they have like an air conditioning room, recovery room, and they started that actually in West Virginia, the Greenbrier. But here, in particular, with this triple-digit heat index, that thing is overflowed with players after practice, getting in there, I think it's like they want it to be around 65, 66 degrees, so they can recover and keep their bodies fresh and their legs fresh, because it's grueling out there, and you're out there for 2.5 hours in that heat.
I almost feel like that's a shock to the system.
Right.
You might freeze up and you're all sweaty and all this, but yeah. So I know tomorrow, for sure, when the fans come out, you see padded practice, padded football. And Jeff, we like to kind of replay this story on the show. We've probably done it 1 or 2 times, but when Zach Strief and you don't have pads on, and he says, look, the best thing in an OTA or an unpadded practice is to make sure Cam Jordan is healthy and leaving that practice. I'm not going to say people try to, no one's trying to get hurt, but you play more physical when you got pads, and you start to see how that interior really starts to pan out. Maybe you see some of these linebackers, how they can attack the ball carrier or get into space, and you start seeing more legit football.
And they'll be having pass rush drills, so even the individual drill work you can evaluate a lot better when you're out there. So I'm looking forward to it. I think probably the coaching staff is as well. And once we get into these padded practices, man, things start going fast. And next thing we know, they're going to have a preseason game, and then they'll be kicking it off on Monday Night Football against Minnesota. It's amazing how quickly time flies once they start getting into these padded workouts.
Absolutely. And if you missed any of this show, go to our NOLA.com iTunes page, NOLA.com SoundCloud page, and you could go to sports1280.com and check out the podcast. So we only have a couple minutes left. Jeff, I'm going to just throw this at you, spur of the moment. Might as well make it a weekly thing. On our shows this week, what's 1 or 2 things you learned about this week, about people we talked to, interesting takes around guests we've had, because we've had some interesting guests and some interesting takes. And look, we had open the week, we had Sean Payton on the show. Close the week, we had LSU head coach Ed Orgeron.
I think Coach O's interview last night was really compelling. I was really impressed with just how comfortable he's become as the LSU head coach, how quickly it's happened. And, like I said, I was pretty skeptical of him when he was being mentioned early on as a candidate for that job. You mentioned Tom Herman. I think he's going to be a great coach, and I think LSU could not have gone wrong hiring him. But I'm buying in more and more to the decision to put Ed Orgeron in there. I think it's a great Louisiana story, and he's a hard guy to not pull for, to be honest with you, just how engaging he is, and how much of a dream it was for him to get this job. So he's putting his blood, sweat, and tears into making this work.
Yeah, I think what I learned was that how difficult a decision it was for the Saints to say, man, we're going to put Nick Fairley out for the year. I think Sean Payton was extremely honest, and you could tell it kind of got to him that he had to do that, and they had to make that decision because Nick Fairley came back, 1-year deal, worked his tail off, got into shape, had a great season. They invested some money in him, a fair market value, and they were relying on him. And it's not just football, that for the person. I think they feel like he kind of resurrected his career, and I think it really was a challenge for them.
Yeah, remove the football side of it. It's a human story, and it's a sad story, but it's also a positive one because he's going to be able to live his life and being able to treat this, and it could have been a tragic.
30.
Yeah, absolutely. Want to thank LSU head football coach Ed Orgeron. Want to thank our man Dave behind the glass. I put him through hell today. Thank you. Want to thank Luke. Want to thank Clyde, and want to thank all of you for listening to us week 2 of Dunc Holder in the books. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We'll come back for week 3 of Dunc Holder next week. Josh Ennis next.
Rich Eisen here. It's baseball
Thanks,
season.
Dave.
All right, guys. See ya.